According to CNN, Trump and his allies have invested over $21 million in TV ads attacking Kamala Harris for her previous support for taxpayer-funded gender reassignment procedures on prisoners and detained immigrants. One ad says, quote, "Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you." Hi, everyone. Welcome to another LGB Alliance USA News Roundup. This time for the past 2 weeks, ending in October 18th, 2024. My name is Ariane. First, a summary of today's news. Pennsylvania parents objecting to pro-trans instruction for kids score a victory in court. The University of Reno's women's volleyball team forfeits their game against San Jose State. Texas is suing a doctor who allegedly violated state law against pediatric transition. Italy bans surrogacy for citizens abroad. Trans activists attempt to disrupt the LGB Alliance UK's conference, and Kamala Harris faces heat for her stance on transgender issues. First, we begin with Pennsylvania, where a federal judge has granted summary judgment to a group of parents who alleged their local Mount Lebanon school district violated their rights by teaching their first-grade children about transgender-related issues. According to the lawsuit, a teacher named Megan Williams taught her students When Aiden Became a Brother and Introducing Teddy, both of which are books that feature and celebrate kids who take on trans identities. Williams also played a video called Jacob's New Dress about a boy who wants to wear a dress to school. The suit claims that Williams, who is the mother of a trans-identifying child, exceeded her bounds by imposing her own beliefs and agenda on her young students. The judge, Joy Flowers Conti, agreed, saying that the school violated the parents' due process, equal protection, and free exercise of religion. Conti said that Williams, quote, showed intolerance and disrespect for the religious or moral beliefs and authority of the parents, unquote. Judge Conti also said that the school district needs to notify parents about such instruction and allow them to opt their children out of it. She pointed out that parents are already allowed to opt their children out of other classes dealing with controversial non-curricular subjects, including sex ed. Hence, the school must offer a similar pathway to opt out of instruction in transgender issues in order to remain neutral. Now, I find it extremely disturbing that schools would not only promote the idea of gender identity and transition to kids as young as first grade, but also do so without granting parents opt-out rights. This strikes me as nothing short of school-sponsored religious indoctrination. So it's a relief that Judge Conti ruled in favor of the parents' right to opt their children out of this. That said, it seems strange to me that the burden is on the parents to opt their children out of this preposterous class. Gender identity is a belief system, not a fact that should be promoted in schools. Public school teachers should not be indoctrinating first graders in this belief system any more than they should be instructing their kids that Jesus is the Messiah or the Bible is the Word of God. And first grade is way too young to be teaching kids about any sort of identity, gender or otherwise. Williams' first grade transgender lesson was completely inappropriate, regardless of whether or not the parents formally call it out. Now turning to sports. We have previously reported that 4 universities decided to forfeit their women's volleyball match against San Jose State due to the latter's inclusion of a trans-identified male. Now we are reporting that on October 13th, the women's volleyball team at a 5th school, the University of Nevada at Reno, also voted to forfeit their match against San Jose State, scheduled for October 25th. The players gave their justification in an exclusive letter to Outkick. Quote, "We, the University of Nevada Reno women's volleyball team, forfeit against San Jose State University and stand united in solidarity with the volleyball teams of Southern Utah University, Boise State University, the University of Wyoming, and Utah State University. We demand that our right to safety and fair competition on the court be upheld. We refuse to participate in any match that advances injustice against female athletes. End quote. The University of Reno, in turn, issued a statement saying that the decision to forfeit was made by the women volleyball players themselves and is not the official position of the school. The university cited Nevada law and the Nevada Constitution, which protects gender identity, as well as federal law and NCAA policies, which foster a so-called inclusive and supportive environment. However, the school also said that they will not discipline any players for forfeiting. This story became so well known that the governor of Nevada, Joseph M. Lombardo, issued his own statement defending the rights of the women volleyball players to refuse to play against San Jose State. He wrote, quote, "As I've said previously, I believe there are competition and safety concerns with this issue, and it's irresponsible for the NCAA to put student athletes in a position of balancing their personal safety against the school's competition and sports they love. The student athletes at the University of Nevada, Reno have determined that they do not want to play against San Jose State, and I wholeheartedly respect the decision of the players. No student athlete should ever be pressured to play a game where they don't feel safe, period. The NCAA has a responsibility to address this issue in a consistent way that protects the integrity of women's sports and the student athletes who participate." End quote. It's heartening to see the women on the University of Reno's volleyball team stand up for their rights as female athletes, and it's encouraging to see them receive the support of the governor. But it's disappointing to see the University of Reno's lack of backbone in failing to endorse the athlete's decision. It seems like the university is trying to have their cake and eat it too. On one hand, refusing to endorse their athlete's decision to forfeit in order to avoid running afoul of the law, but also refusing to discipline the athletes, possibly due to fear of public backlash. Like I've said in our previous reporting on the issue, it's horribly unfair that the burden is falling on female athletes themselves to protect the safety and integrity of their own sports. Universities, the government, and the NCAA need to do a better job at ensuring women and girls athletics remain female only as originally intended. Next, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing UT Southwestern pediatrician Dr. May C. Lau for violating the state's ban on pediatric transition. The suit alleges she attempted to medically transition at least 21 patients under the age of 18. She is also accused of fraud, including insurance fraud, for trying to circumvent state law by pretending she was prescribing drugs to her patients for reasons other than changing their biological sex or affirming their gender identities. An example offered in the lawsuit is that Lau would personally diagnose a patient as having a gender identity disorder and administer puberty blockers, but then would list the patient as having an unspecified endocrine disorder when billing their insurance company. In other words, by using the vague language of endocrine disorder, Lau is hiding from the insurance company the real reason why she is prescribing the drugs, namely to affirm her patient's gender identity. In the lawsuit, Attorney General Paxton characterized Lau as a, quote, scofflaw who is putting the health and safety of minors at risk, unquote. If she loses, Lau could face the revocation of her medical license. This is an important case to follow because it tests the enforceability of Texas pediatric transition bans and uncovers some of the shady backdoors doctors are going through to skirt the law. We'll keep you updated. Now we turn abroad to Europe. On October 16th, it was reported that Italy passed a ban on couples from traveling abroad to have a baby via surrogacy. Surrogacy was already illegal within Italy. The law extends the ban to Italians going abroad to seek surrogacy in countries where it is legal, including the US. Some people have characterized this ban as an attack on gay rights, since many people who use surrogacy are gay male couples. But I'd argue this is extremely misleading framing because Italy's ban on surrogacy extends to all people and all couples, gay and straight. In fact, the BBC claims that experts told them that 90% of the Italian couples who seek surrogacy are heterosexual. And while it's true that such a surrogacy ban is supported by the Roman Catholic Church, which also lobbies against gay rights, It's also supported by many feminists who see surrogacy as an exploitation of women. That said, it is also the case that gay and lesbian couples do not have full equality under Italian law. Same sex marriage is still not legal. And though same sex civil unions are recognized, they do not extend to adoption rights. This can also make artificial insemination difficult for lesbian couples since the non biological mothers will likely not be included on their children's birth certificates. It's perfectly fair to call out these aspects of Italian family law as discriminatory towards gays and lesbians. But surrogacy is a much different issue than adoption and marriage because it involves moral and safety issues surrounding a surrogate mother. I believe the merits of legal surrogacy should be debated on their own terms and not treated as a gay rights issue, assuming the law is applied consistently to gay and straight couples alike. Meanwhile, in London, the LGB Alliance UK held their annual conference on October 11th. There was a moment of drama when female TRA activists released bugs before the presentation by LGBT Courage Coalition's Jamie Reed. The agitators failed to stop the conference, however, which continued in another room. Police identified the agitators, but no arrests were made. LGB Alliance UK's chief executive, Kate Barker, spoke to the Telegraph shortly after the incident and said, quote, "They, that is the protesters, are trying to squash reasoned debate with silly tactics," unquote. It should be noted that the LGB Alliance USA had a representative at the conference reporting on the event on X. If you want to learn more about how the conference went, including summaries of the various speakers, check out our X. Now we return to the US to discuss the presidential election campaign. According to CNN, Trump and his allies have invested over $21 million in TV ads attacking Kamala Harris for her previous support for taxpayer-funded gender reassignment procedures on prisoners and detained immigrants. One ad says, quote, "Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you," unquote. Fox News host Brett Baier went on to bring up this issue in an interview with Harris on October 16th. Harris responded by saying she was just following the law that Trump followed and that Trump was, quote unquote, throwing stones in a glass house by criticizing her stance on the issue. I believe these attack ads, as well as Baier's line of questioning, demonstrate the growing importance of transgender-related issues in American politics. I also think it's noteworthy that Harris did little to defend the merits of transgender medical procedures, but rather used the opportunity to shift blame to Trump. Democrats probably feel like this is a losing issue for them and are desperate for ways to avoid taking the blame. It remains to be seen how gender ideology and trans-related issues impact the rest of the campaign season and the results of the election. And that's all for now. Hope to see you again, and remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.